Welcome to the Wisdom of Women show. We are dedicated to amplifying the voice of women in business. A new model of leadership is emerging, and we are here to amplify the voices of women leading the way. I am your host, Coco Sellman, five-time founder and impact investor and creator of the Force for Good system. Thank you for joining us today as we illuminate the path to unlocking opportunities and prosperity for women-led enterprises by amplifying the voice and wisdom of women. Today, we have a very special guest who is here to talk to us about how she is creating a very unique ecosystem to help women founders thrive and prosper. Melissa Wallace is a trailblazing entrepreneur and marketing expert, boasting over 25 years of experience in consumer, B2B, D2C, and creative agency sectors. With a focus on cutting-edge technologies and entertainment, Melissa has held key positions at Superfly, DirecTV, A&E, and eMusic. Renowned for revitalizing startup marketing strategies, her most notable success is Buddy Media, which was acquired by Salesforce. In 2018, she co-founded 5'2" Marketing Collective, and in 2023 launched Fierce Foundry, which is what we're going to talk about today, the pioneering Femtech venture studio empowering women-led startups. Melissa's dedication and vision continue to transform the tech industry landscape. It is such a pleasure to welcome you, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay, we're happy to have you. And Fierce Foundry, just the sound of it alone, it seems like something we all want to be a part of. Fierce Foundry is great. So, Melissa, what is one book written by a woman that has significantly influenced your life?
I am so glad that I've listened to your podcast in the past because I knew this was coming. And I have, you specifically say by a woman, which, I've read a lot of books. Not many of them are by women that had influenced my life. But I had to go through and think, for a minute there, and one right away, I was like, oh yes, this is the one I'm going to share. It's a book called Work It by Carrie Kirpin. And I read this book, I want to say it was 2017. My husband was stay-at-home dad. I had just been laid off. We'd just bought a house. So much going on, and I'm sitting there interviewing for fabulous opportunities, but knowing that I wanted nothing to do with these roles. And after reading this book, which is like a compilation of strong women telling their stories and providing guidance, probably for women younger than me, but you know what? That's okay, because it was the perfect time in my life where I said, you know what? I'm starting my own business. And it really empowered me to think differently. There was a whole chapter about, trusting your instinct, which was something I never did. I always went against my instinct. And to this day, it's a regular part of my meditation practice because of how it's impacted my journey. So if you haven't read it, check it out. Carrie Kirpin. Actually, I think she's coming out with another book this year. So get on that one first.
Amazing. And Carrie Kirpin is like a name that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a wonderful recommendation. I have not read this book, and I will pick it up. It's why I asked the question. It's a selfish question. I'm always like, what are you reading?
Oh yeah, we need all the ideas, especially business books written by women. Like, give them all to me. I wanna read them all. So
yes, it's that wisdom. It's a different spin on how to be great, and it's nice to hear from other women. So thank you for that wonderful recommendation. So I really just want to dive in and hear all about Fierce Foundry. So you're addressing the funding gap for women founders. So tell us, what is Fierce Foundry and what inspired you to create this unique venture studio model?
So I started my marketing agency with my co-founder Laura Majorano, and to work with early stage startups. It was absolutely my passion, where I wanted to be, and we were meeting a lot of women who were coming to us saying, "I have an investor who's interested, but they want to see customers and traction, but they
Yes.
have like $200,000 in the bank." And brilliant ideas, working prototypes, had gotten very far, but certainly not enough. Like, if you're going to use that money, you need to rethink where you're putting that. And marketing was certainly not where we thought they should be putting those funds. But we also didn't want to walk away from them. So we started volunteering our marketing services once per quarter to a female founder, because it's this, getting over that like bridging that gap was almost impossible. So that's how it started. We started to find other people who wanted to volunteer their time, like creative designers and developers and financial experts. And it became a bit of a mentoring community that continued to grow. We would have events and AMAs, and it was great. But last year, I sat down with the board and said, "We have this amazing network. We can do
Right.
more. We need to have more impact." And 5'2" Marketing, my marketing agency, was connected to a studio. We were one of the studio partners responsible for marketing at that very specific stage within the studio. So the studio would come up with the idea, find a founder, connect it, and provide all the services. And we were one of the service providers. So I was familiar with the model, but I decided to dig in a little bit deeper, read a few books, and came back at the end of the summer and said, "This is what we have to do." And the studio model, so studio is sort of the other option from, say, going straight to VC and getting your funding. It's funding, it's a capital investment, plus the studio co-founds the company with the founder, so that all of the services come from experts. It's kind of like accelerators on steroids, where it's, we're covering all these services from idea all the way to exit. And the way that we work this, our objective is to exit these companies in less than 7 years,
Yeah.
so that these female founders go on and invest in more women and become just like you, Coco. Like right? This is what we want to do. We want to get more of you out there, where it's an opportunity to fuel that flywheel. That is really the only way that we're going to change this ecosystem. So that's why we chose the studio model. I know it's much more complex than just that, but that's why we're doing it. And we believe, and we know that founders that go through a studio model are 30% more successful than just going out and fundraising on their own. So, we've got
It
that.
makes so much sense to me, because part of the challenge, in my experience, is you do have such limited funds and you can't afford all the experts that you need. And you don't have the personal experience either to know what really works in all these different kinds of ways. Like, it costs you a lot of money, trial and erroring.
It really does, and we don't have that money to spare.
You have
Yeah.
to, get further faster.
Exactly.
And that's what I know your whole idea is around, is getting further faster, more efficiently, and doing it in a community of people that are genuinely aligned with your needs and helping you get there. So how is Fierce Foundry? So, maybe unpack a little bit for us, like, how is it different from a traditional venture or accelerator program? And why do you believe it can make such a lasting impact?
So first and foremost, we're a co-founder. So it's not just a capital investment, right? So we have skin in the game too. And we know that if we can structure a model that has, in our case, 4 very specific stages, and we can support the founder again from a female perspective, which is, I think, really key too, because women have the potential to be incredibly successful if they have the right resources. And it's not just something you might get at an accelerator, which, and I hate this term, is, cookie cutter. You come in, you go through the program, and you come out, right? Now, I have participated in accelerators. I'm a mentor at many accelerators, and I love these programs. And I
Me
think
too.
that they offer, especially for the right founders, it can be the perfect fit for what they need. But we're literally starting at the very, very early stage. So
Yes.
we have the opportunity to some degree de-risk the company's path forward. So if for some reason, we get through a certain stage and we realize that, we're learning that the product market fit is not there, for example, we have the right team right there immediately to help in that pivot and
Right.
to the next stage, or make the decision that we're not going to move forward.
Mhm.
And that's really, really challenging for founders to do on their own, especially women, because we are connected to our ideas, and, they become our babies, and it's, we want to help drive that path to success. So the studio model allows us to do that. And we're with you through the whole thing. Now,
Right.
Carrie
Right.
Kirkman is on in the last stage of, as our exit whisperer, to come in and, several years before the exit will take place, to really define that path, which, as a founder, you don't have time to even think about that.
No, you really do need a couple of years just to think
Mhm.
about exit and like getting your organization in order and professionalizing and understanding what those buyers might want and need,
Yeah.
from the organization, who those buyers might be and what their particular. Yes, 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 yes. I fully agree.
Yeah.
So, it's so many good things about this. I really feel like, what are the best types of ventures or companies that you invest in or you partner with?
Yes. So right now, so yes, we've been around for a year, which is a lifetime, I know.
Oh,
Um,
geez, it's
but
also it's, I know it's like a lot happens in a year and,
so much has happened. We've met with over 50 founders, and we've brought on just about 80 partners to work with. So that's a lot of meetings in itself to
oh,
happen in a year.
yes.
Forget about investors and everybody else that we've met with. But in the last year, we learned very quickly that we needed to have proof of concept. The studio model it's not new, but at the same time, it's very fresh and emerging.
Yes.
And so we're in the process of focusing on 3 companies, and we decided that our thesis would be focused in Femtech. 80% of Femtech founders are women. So it just makes sense, because not only that, think of, the less than 2% of female founders getting funding. 80% of female Femtech founders are women. So that means that there's these ideas and products and services that are for women and the people in their lives that will never see the light of day.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's where we have to focus first. The other sort of benefit to this area, the femtech focus, is that we're seeing exits
Yeah.
happen in a shorter time frame. There's a lot of interest. It's a growing market. I think on
Yes.
target to be $1 trillion by 2027, which is right around the corner. So this just, we're putting all the numbers together, and we're thinking about how we're going to get where we're going, and Femtech, defined again by us very broadly. It's not specifically health or medical devices. It is
Mhm.
products and services that benefit women and the people in their lives.
Wonderful.
And so the first 2 companies that we are focused on, and we're actually looking for a third. So founders out there, listen closely. The first two products, one is an AI tool for dementia patients and their caregivers. The second is an investment tool for women. Imagine Noom meets E-Trade, proper accountability, gamification, but the right kind of education and the right opportunities for investment. And then for a third, there's many of us in the group so far that really want a menopause product or service. So we're actively seeking and speaking to founders in that realm right now.
That is amazing. And I love this, all these, the dimensions that you're talking about, right? And so AI for people with dementia and their families, which, you know, I know this group, this whole demographic, and they're in the challenges of families when they're trying to take care. Goodness. And I was just talking about this challenge with somebody else in investing and women, and how often women are really good with philanthropy, right?
Yes.
And they, right, and they can be smart and savvy with a budget, right, handling like, but they don't know necessarily how to invest and
invest in themselves, like in their future.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
So,
I'll, I mean,
yeah, no.
can,
I mean, I just turned 50, and it's a I've made investments over the years in various things, and I'm just now starting to realize how afraid I have been, and how like I look for permission from somebody else, my husband, to do these things, and it's complete, crap.
yeah. Yep.
It's so.
But it doesn't need to be the way that men have experienced it. It can be our way. It can be in
Oh,
a
and
way
it's
that gives us that comfort level. And
right. Well, and it's actually not my husband who would ever try to tell me what I should invest in. It's all on me. But it's just, I think this is such an important product. And then of course, menopause is a growing number. We're all getting a little older, and
yes,
and it's been for a long time that there hasn't been enough focus on it. So
there's still, I mean, there's great stuff. What Electra is doing is amazing. And I can go on. But as another member of the newly added to the 50s club,
me too.
I can say like, wow. And it's terrible that we realize it now.
I
And
know. I
there's
know. It's like,
so much you can do at an early age
right.
that would benefit. So we'll find
I
the
love
right.
how Femtech in your definition too really does sort of, it's different. It's beyond what you might just think of, like,
Yes.
whatever you might. So I really want to hear more about your stages, because I looked on your website, and I could see that you have a process to bring your founders together, and you take them through these 4 stages. And I think for our founders who are listening, it would be helpful for us to know how you work with founders in each stage. And hopefully we can all be thinking about where we are in each of these stages. And like, if this is a recipe you put together that works, there's a lot for us to gather, whether or not we're a fit or not for Fierce Foundry. Right. So so tell us about your sort of process and your belief system around what creates sustainable growth.
Absolutely. So I will start by saying we actually have decided to relaunch that community that I mentioned earlier that we pivoted to here from.
Yes.
Which is allowing us to think about these stages and have it filtered down to members who may not be co-founded with us, but giving them access to the tracks within each stage. So anybody interested, we're not going to turn anybody away. We're going to find a way to provide these resources as we build them out further. So in the first stage is really ideation and analysis. It's a combination of us going out and exploring ideas that we're interested in, like right now, menopause. We're also looking into different types of cardiovascular products and services that I think are really important for women right now.
Yes.
And we
Still the number one killer of women,
are
right?
women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll just the lack of information again is all part of this. So so we have ideas that we're looking for founders who might be building products and services around. Um, we also have women that we meet that are looking to do something new, and we bring them into this ideation and analysis stage. Our investment app is the perfect example of that, where we have someone who is a perfect fit, an amazing entrepreneur, to come in and build this product. So that's an ongoing process for us in that stage. And when we start to sit down with founders that we think are the right fit, we then take them through an initial market analysis. Who is the customer? We kind of dig into the details of what this might look like, how much we could charge, what does the financial model look like? And then we have a wonderful woman, Teresa Neal, who heads up our product side of things, who comes in and says, okay, let me see what kind of lift this is from a design and development perspective. Because what we want to do in this stage is really assess the opportunity to work with a product or service that can be built quickly, but still be really impactful. So she provides feedback on that. Then we have a whole sort of validation process that those companies go through, and we move into what's kind of stage one, stage two, kind of a little bit of a gray area into stage two, where we do product marketing, so developing positioning, messaging, going deeper into market research and truly understanding the product that we need to build, moving into design, and producing a beta that we can go out and market test. And once we get there, then we know what's going to happen next. And the next part is where, okay, now we're going to start fundraising in stage three because we want to go to market. So now if we have a direct capital investment, that helps us get through the first two stages. But then when we get to stage three, depending upon the size of what we're building and the market we're going after, that could require additional fundraising. So we have people like Katie Dunn on our team, if you know Katie Dunn from Power Pitch, who is, helping us in preparing for that stage. And then the go-to-market is basically getting the product ready, getting a full push out and starting to generate revenue. Our goal would be to really have these products and services making lots of money early on, so that there isn't a requirement for future funding, because it's already a challenge as it is. And then the final stage is grow and exit. Now, our objective is to get to an exit, and we will do that. And most of the founders that we've met with are on board with that. But there could come a change in heart and ideas, and we're going to be very flexible to kind of what happens in the end there if there's an opportunity. So think about those four stages, then think about, there's tracks, right? So I just told you about the product track, but there's also the business track. So we have educators that will come in, and implementers who will help set up systems, from setting up your QuickBooks to organizing your CRM, all of those pieces. And those are the things that will funnel down to what we call Fierce Founders community, which is open to anyone. And then there's my favorite and most important track is founder development. And this is a combination of founder therapy. So if there's co-founders involved, or if the founder themselves are having a moment that they need support in a different way, that will be a regular component of that, and other types of support, as women need when they're building something wonderful.
That is so cool. I mean, it's really comprehensive in all the ways. So you take a co-founder role, so you sort of operate. I mean, how does that work? You're obviously, you have to set up a pretty detailed agreement arrangement.
Yes, we've been working several months now on finalizing those agreements, and I'll give a shout out to Leslie Cohen, who has been an amazing advisor, and her team has been fantastic to work with. But yes, there's a lot going into this agreement, but we're making sure that the founders are the owners of their companies.
Right. So they own most of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they will, they'll
They
they'll
will
have the
continue.
final say in decisions that are made, but we'll have our place where we are engaged at a very important level.
I love it. I love it. It's so, so cool. And so right now, so before I go into, I want to talk to you about how you raise funds and
Mhm.
what you're trying to do, your big goals right now. So what have you learned in this experience, as well as through all your other experiences working with startups and helping them grow? Like, what are some of the big lessons you've learned about what works and what doesn't work?
There's so much there. I can start on the marketing side, and I can
Yes.
tell you that if you don't have enough money to spend in marketing, then you shouldn't be marketing. That's a mistake we see all the time. We ask at the marketing agency, we ask like, what is your budget? I'm open. It's no,
Oh, no.
budget. And I'm going to tell you honestly if I think you should be hiring us or not. And that's that, right? Like, that is I think one of the biggest challenges I think founders have, because they want so desperately to get out there and they want to get those customers. And so that's really hard. But one of the amazing things that I have seen, and this goes across everything, not just marketing, is when you infuse creativity into the ideas and you think differently, but very closely connected to the customer. Spend time with the customer. This is kind of a thing that I see founders make a big mistake on, just as often as the money part of it. But you think because you experienced this challenge, and you created the product, that you are the customer, but you're not, because you're too close to what you're building and you miss the pieces that are important to the person who's actually going to pay for this product. So never identify yourself as the customer. You are the founder. And learn as much as you can about that customer, and really think about things creatively, like stem out from what they're thinking. Think about reaching them in ways that are not what your competitors are doing. And I love to copy a competitor if they're doing something really great, but infuse some creativity into it.
Right.
Those are the things that I have seen move mountains for
Right.
startups.
Well, you know what you said too, as I was listening to you to describe the stages, I agree with you. It is, I think it's hard for founders to take that step of going and doing the proper research on their customers, doing the outreach, really finding out what the customer experiences,
Yeah.
and doing those quick iterations. That is hard for me. It is
Yeah.
extremely hard for me. I will say it's like I have to have somebody else really there for me to do it, or I
Yep.
won't. And
Yep.
that's like for you to say that's like, oh my God, that would take the burden off of the founder to feel like they have to put it all together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of work. In fact, we were having this conversation today about, we don't have a very big budget at the moment, but we
Of
know
course
that we
not.
need to do these consumer insights, and we have great partners, but they would be probably better suited later stage, or at least, when we're raising a little bit more money. And someone had raised the question, well, could you have an intern do it? And I said, you can't. I think I don't know if there's a case study out there, but if you talk to a handful of the most successful founders and ask them how did they engage with their customers, they will tell you, I went door to door, or that's all I did was focus on the customer. And the more that you can dedicate that time, the more you're going to build a product that's worthy of someone spending money on,
Right.
and have that ability to be what that customer wants. So
Totally. And you end up spending so much time and money creating something that nobody wants or needs. And that's the mistake, right? That's why you run one of the reasons you run out of money too quickly,
Yep.
before it takes fire. The other thing I also thought was really valuable in this model, and I was happy to hear that you're finding a way to do it with more than just the ones you decide to really partner with, is the accountability that comes with having somebody go along with you. Um, you know, I first started angel investing with 37 Angels. I don't know if you know 37 Angels, okay? And one of the things that Andrea Lee says, who founded 37 Angels, and she's a professor at Columbia, and she says that it's really, really good to have a co-founder. Right? It's really, really good to have, we like people, we like when there's more than one founder, because if it's all one person, there's key person risk, but more than that, there's just not the mindset to think beyond oneself.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely. 100% agree. And the diversity, if you can have diversity in that relationship, I mean, then you're going to be set up for success for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it just sounds really cool. So how then how it works then is you raise money, right? And so you have people then who are investors, venture type investors, and then you use that money to invest in the businesses, correct?
Yes. So there's a couple different stages again.
Yeah.
Stages and stages upon stages. So right now we want to build 3 companies as a proof of concept before we go raise the big capital investment fund. So we are raising that fund through angel investors, and we're looking to raise $3 million that will get those first three companies off the ground.
Okay.
Once we've
so like roughly $1 million invested per.
Yes.
And how does that money go into a fund? What happens?
So
I know it happens with a venture fund, but how does it happen with this kind of thing? Is this going as an angel investor directly into the cap table of the company, or?
There's 2 pieces. There's one piece that goes into the studio operating, the operating studio, and that covers the cost of the services that we're providing.
Yeah.
The other half is a direct investment into the portfolio. And that is an opportunity to come in and directly invest into those companies while we're focused on our part of it, which is the services that we're providing.
Got it. Okay. So you put in 100 grand and 50% of it goes to operating expenses and 50% goes into the investment fund. Is that's how it works? Kind of.
It's a little bit nuanced from there, because it's really more like 70% of the services, right? The
Right.
operating, like to operate the studio, is much less than that. If you think about it in terms of product development, market research, and the go-to-market strategy, like it's really those 3 core areas that are being financed through the partnership.
Got it. Wonderful. Okay, great. And so you're looking for investors right now,
We're
right?
looking for investors right now. We actually have a WeFunder campaign, which is a rev share. It's not, you don't have to be an angel investor. You don't have to be an accredited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can come in and contribute as little as 100, and you get a 1.3x return. We did that so that we could move faster. But now we're having conversations with angels again for more of that direct investment into the portfolio.
Okay, so you said, I want to make sure I understand. So the WeFunder campaign is a revenue-based generation. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So you could go, listeners, you can go, and is it on WeFunder.com?
Yeah, it's WeFunder.com/Fierce Foundry.
And so you can go there, and then you can make an investment there. And just so y'all know, you're not buying a share or a percentage of equity. You are basically saying, I'm putting money towards the revenue. And as they create revenue, we will share the revenue.
Mhm.
And you're saying 1.3x is the return that you're moving towards.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Plus
very cool.
you get a shirt, a really cool t-shirt that says invest in women.
I love that. I am going to not pass go. I'm going to go directly to wefunder.com/Fierce Foundry because that's so cool. I mean, what a great way for us all to support women founders and to learn about investing in this area and space of startups. I love this. This is a great opportunity. Okay, so what is the last, so how do people get in touch with you? How do investors get in touch with you? How do founders get in touch with you?
So I welcome anybody to email me directly.
Okay.
Founders, investors, even partners, if you're, a service provider. We do have different team members responsible for the different areas, but you can email me at melissa@thefiercefoundry.com. You can also go to our website. We do an info session every other Wednesday. I usually host it. I usually bring in a couple team members who, might, provide a little more pizzazz to the conversation, but we give you a quick overview of what we're building, what the status is of the companies. And then we just have a conversation. It's great because the founders come in, they talk about things that they're building, investors come in and they get a quick, idea of like who else is out there. But info sessions, you can register for those on our website, thefiercefoundry.com. Just go to resources.
Wonderful. And so that's really a great way to bring everybody together too, whether you're an investor or you're a founder looking to, especially if you're a founder with a menopause based product right now. And then once this is done and you get your 3 companies and you have your 3 million and you're going, then you're going to raise a bigger fund. Is that the plan?
Right now we're estimating a $15 million fund so that we can
Great.
launch about 30 companies. And I'm looking forward to that. I know it's not normally what us women look forward to, but to me, it's a huge milestone for me to be out there raising that fund. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so happy for you, Melissa.
Thank you, Coco.
What's one last piece of wisdom that you can offer that you want to share with us all about, how your philosophy on leadership and making the world better?
Don't be afraid. Honestly, I think if you can focus on taking that physical feeling of fear and turning that into excitement and thinking about it in terms of like something exciting is going to happen. I'm feeling this way because something new is going to happen. Instead of being afraid of what might be, I think we can all accomplish great things and with the right mindset. So don't be afraid. That's what I would say.
I love it. Don't be afraid. And you said to take your fear and turn it into excitement.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, brilliant.
It's hard to do, but when you get there, it feels really good. So
it does. It does. Well, and there are such close feelings, right? Like
yeah.
fear and excitement are close cousins. They're just right there next to each other. I'm on the roller coaster. Am I excited or am I scared? Choose that you're excited, right? This is exciting.
It is. It is.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa. I can't wait to keep our conversations up and learn more about Fierce Foundry. We're both right here in New York, and
likewise.
It's really exciting to be here with you. So thank you, Melissa, so much for joining us today on the Wisdom of Women show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and illuminating the path to unlocking opportunities for growth and prosperity for women-led enterprises. We value you and your experience and your wisdom. So if you're listening today and you found value, I hope you will follow, like, and share the Wisdom of Women show on whatever your favorite listening or viewing platform is. and to infuse more wisdom into your business, be sure to take the Growth Readiness Quiz at aforceforgood.biz/quiz. It'll give you an actual score, and a score of 80 or higher indicates that you're probably growing fast. And the world is made better by women-led business. So let's all go make the world a better place. Cheers.